So I'm writing a paper on environmental issues for a class in environmental biology. The first thing I'll do is go onto Google Chrome and use the Google search engine to look for specific environmental issues. So, for example, I would search global warming today to see the current global warming problems or situations. This website here, nwf.org, it's the first one to pop up, and it seems like a credible source because it's a National Wildlife Federation organization. So I would click on it and read through it. I would look at the titles, the subheadings, to see if they're relevant to the information that I need, and then I would copy the URL address so I could note it and paste it onto the paper that I'm typing so far in Word so I could cite it later. And then I would go back to the Google page and click on the next next link, and in this case this is a web page from NASA, and there's graphs which would be useful to me because it's statistical evidence, and so far right now it shows how global warming and the increase of carbon dioxide over hundreds of thousands of years, and yeah, so I would read through this and then I'll see how the sea level is rising, global temperature rising, warming of the oceans, how the ice sheets are sinking, and how the Arctic Sea is shrinking. And in my paper, I might specify on specific things like sea level rising, for instance. So I would take sea level rise and then I'll paste in search in Google search engine, and I would like branch from that so I could have more um, more what's the word, research, more back. I'll be able to back up my point, so a lot more stronger. And when I search sea level rise, I would see another page from NASA and talking about sea level. So I would copy this URL and I'd go back to and I'd paste it on the Word so I could cite it later, and then I'd go to another page from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and this is a government website. So I would read through it to see if there's anything different that wasn't on the NASA website, and if there's something that I would use, I would use this URL too. When I get enough information on sea level rising, I would go back to that original, and I would like see look at the global temperature rise, and I'll do the same thing for global temperature. Um, and and usually that would be how I get the bulk of my information. And if I'm still missing something, I'd go back to the original search of global warming today and look through the links, and maybe I'll try to find, if I want some um, like outstanding information or something something different, something unexpected, I would I would go back to, and I'll change the search to like what you don't know, like what I don't know about global warming today. So I'd have something to include in my paper that might be just different from the other ones. It might surprise the teacher, so I can stand out. And there's a link here from PBS, pbs.org, and it says, well, the title is "What We Know, What We Don't Know About Global Warming." So I would read through that. It has graph here about probability and the eventual global warming based on like passing 700 ppm carbon dioxide emissions. So I'll look through that, planetary risk management, and I would get curious also, and I'll see how long maybe scientists would say we'd have left, I guess, if they have that as like online. And from the PBS website, I would go back to Google, and there's a website here on New Scientist, climate change, similar to the heading "What We Do and Don't Know." So I would look through that, and it also has a series of branching articles that are like have to do with the topic. And one thing here is we don't know how things would change in each region. So that would be something I personally would like to know, and how, like, what their examples would be, like how global warming might affect Japan and or Germany or Russia, and how it might affect them differently. Then I'd go back to the Google websites. If I'm at a library, I would definitely look for a scholarly article. But if I'm like on a personal computer or laptop, I would search scholarly articles. And again, they have some things here from NASA, and apparently this is about similar to this first NASA website, and I'll make sure I cite this as well as its author and its date and everything. So I go back to Google, and yeah, and then I look at how much information that I have currently, and based on that information, I should be able to type um, a strong database paper on global warming and environmental issues. Yeah, and I might look for scientists. I might search scientists' opinions, like try to get a quote from a scientist at a university and what they might think, what their opinions might be, so I could have someone specifically to quote, maybe like a professor or somebody from like Britain or a university in the U.S. So, um, so yeah. So I would search. Um, let me see. I will search global warming university, maybe like Global Warming Today, university, something like that. And the first thing that came up was the Yale project on climate change communication. So I'll click on that link. That's the first one on there. And there's a paper here. It says peer-reviewed articles. So that would definitely be good to look at, because the articles that have been reviewed by like experts in the field and approved of. So I'll look through this and see if they have any information that I would be able to use. And they have percentages in here and other information. And then they also have different articles, climate notes, and specifics in Paris, and other things. So is that it? Alright.
I'm writing a paper on Reaganomics for FYE 80s Pop. I will enter Google Chrome right now. First thing I'm going to do is enter google.com, because it's a pretty good search engine. Type in Reaganomics into the search bar. And the first link that pops up is to Wikipedia. I'll enter Wikipedia. Usually I would just read over this page to get a brief overview of the subject. Might take notes on certain key points, but I usually tend to scroll down to the sources. There's this link right here is, from what it looks like, a opposing point of view on his policy, and I would probably read a bit about this to get an idea of why his policies, well, if not failed, but had flaws. I would pin this tab, probably quote some sources, some information from it, and save it for the paper. Any information that I feel like I would quote on my paper, I'll just pin it to the taskbar. Now I would enter google.com and look up certain statistics such as, inflation rate, of the US dollar in 1981 when Reagan entered office. I would look for a government website for these sort of statistics, as they're probably the most accurate and unbiased. That's not what I want. Currently, I'm unable to locate a government website that gives me the inflation rate for that time, so I'm just going to go into historical inflation rates.com. I would save this and use it later in a paper. I would then enter Google Scholar to see if there's any sort of articles that relate to the topic. And there are several articles. I would then read through some of these and see if they relate to my topic in any way, form, or fashion. I would gather information that are from both sides of view that are against and for his policies, and put those into my paper. I chose this link because it seems to have a interesting title that would fit in with what I'm looking for, but it's a PDF file, so I'm just going to cancel that real quick. I would choose this link because it also fits in. Obviously, it's opposed to his policies, so it would be interesting to see why. And I would take information from this and probably put it into my paper. I'd pin it to the taskbar to keep track of it. Then go to Google and type in Easybib. And I would use this tool to format my paper for MLA citations. Copy this. Paste it. And if it loads, there we go. I let it do its thing. Let's see. I'd enter the name of the author into the search bar to see if he can find a match. And create citation. I then copy and paste this into the works cited page of the paper. I then go back down to the sources cited in the Wikipedia article and see if there's any more that would be useful to cite. I see a government website here that cites the unemployment rate during his terms in office, and I would definitely use this as the information is most likely accurate and unbiased compared to Fox News or CNN. I'd go and locate data for Reagan's terms of office. Type it into search bar and scroll down to see if they have what I'm looking for exactly. Search function on the website isn't doing exactly as I want, so I'd probably look through it through Google. I type in Reagan and unemployment rate as keywords, as that would probably provide the most results. But that seems to have given me too many results, so let's type in .gov. And see if that provides me. Do not seem to be getting what I need right now from it. However, so I just go back to the website and look through it. find this data. Still does not seem to be giving me anything. So at this point, I would go towards sources that aren't as biased, but are unfortunately somewhat biased, such as maybe Forbes or research organizations such as Pew Research. Then I would pin this tab to the taskbar and use it later on the paper. I would then search the subject again to see if other websites match what the data from the research saw. Do I have to click a button or anything?
I'm writing a paper about concussions for my biology class. I'm going to start just by going to Google, not doing any scholarly search first, just to see what might be current or relevant right now, information that I don't currently know about concussions in the NFL. I see that there are a lot of separate websites that say NFL concussion litigation, NFL concussion settlement, reports from NFL, the CDC. I see one posted recently by the Huffington Post that seems to be usually reliable. I'm going to read what this says. Okay, this just turned out to be a large collection of articles. I'm going to go back. Go to the cdc.gov. This looks like a pretty good place for information on facts and symptoms, but doesn't have any detail. Okay, I'm going to try to do I'm now going to go to Google Scholar to see if I can't find something a little more academic. There we go. Alright, searching for concussion NFL in Google Scholar, just to see if anything this broad will come up at first. Okay, I see an article that says concussion in professional football, biomechanics of the struck player. This sounds like it might be a pretty good article to read for a biology class as far as the mechanics of why. Okay, this takes me to a scientific journal site. Okay. Well, this is not a free article. The abstract might give some slight information, but I'm going to go ahead and leave this because I'm not going to pay for this article. I see another article that says concussion in professional football, morphology of brain injuries. Click on that. Once again, the same website. I'm going to see if I can. I'm gonna narrow my search window down to concussion NFL, and I'm gonna include the keyword brain to try to turn my search into specifically brain injuries from concussions. Okay, I see a link that instantly comes up right now that says I can find a few of these at Georgia Southern, so that might be something good that I could go get. I could use here. I'm going to see if any of these might work for me. This first one looks like it might be pretty good. Concussion in professional football, summary of the research conducted. Okay, this looks like it might be pretty good. It says read article at publisher's site. Okay, it takes me to the Journal of Neurosurgery. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open this article. This looks pretty good. Looks like it has a lot of information, and it's coming from, it's a summary of the NFL, the National Football League's own committee on mild traumatic brain injury, so I might look at what the NFL had to say or what their doctors came from or came up with. I think this article might be fairly long, or just taking a long time to load. Quickly scan this article. I'm seeing that this article covers a lot of different things right at first, showing the biomechanical testing, impact velocity, a lot of different tests on these. I'm going to quickly scroll to see if there's any sort of, okay, they have post-concussion syndromes. See if there's any sort of, okay, charts and data. Okay, this article is 9 pages long. It looks to be really full of good information I could use in my report. It would take me a little while longer than I have to sort through all this information, but I definitely want to keep this source. Okay, so I would probably, I could just bookmark this page for the moment if I wanted to save it. Or I'd probably just go back to Google. You can save them somewhere. I would focus a lot of my research on this pamphlet or information report on the post-concussion syndromes. Most of the medical aspect, the biological aspect of what's happening after concussions and during concussions more than the physics of what's going on during a hard collision that would cause a concussion. Okay, I'm seeing a bunch of statistics up here. This might be good to look at.
7 more days away. A lot of information to try to sift through.
I am writing a paper on careers in nursing for a class in English. The first place I look is Google because it's more readily available to me. Since my topic is careers in nursing, the first thing I will search is careers in nursing. The I'm choosing this link because the ending to the website title is .org. So, assuming that this is credible. Okay. This website provides a lot of great information on salaries, and I will save this source because it's credible. The next place I will go is bibme.org to cite this source in MLA format because it makes it a lot easier and faster for me to cite sources. Copy and paste the website title into the bibliography generator and search. Creating this citation now. coming here to a Word document, I'm going to insert a blank page for a works cited, centering this. Copy and pasting it into the works cited page. The next place that I will look is, well, going back to the first website that I went to, what piqued my interest was the highest paid nursing career, which is nurse anesthesiast. Copying and pasting that into Google, also searching Google. Okay. I'm clicking this link because it is also from the same website that I just came from. So this is what my paper will be on. I keep up with the information I locate by submitting it to the works cited page that I have on my Word document here. So I'm going to save this as well by using bit.me. Creating the citation, copy and pasting this also to the works cited page that I have. I am saving this source because it provides a lot of great information on nursing and aesthetics. Um, a lot of great information. I am changing my search terms um, to what college courses are required to become a nurse anesthetist. Looking down the search list, clicking on allnursingschools.com because this is a very broad website that may include um, many different schools. I'm now going to change my search terms to salaries of nurse anesthetist. Anesthetist. Um, clicking on the Bureau of Labor Statistics because this is a government website. Okay.
All right. I am writing a paper on the history of computer vulnerabilities for a networking security class in information technology. So I'm going to open up browser. Firefox is my choice because it is my favorite browser. Immediately I go to the Google search bar. Well, let's make sure it's on Google first. It's not, so I'm going to change it to Google. In the browser settings, I'm making it my default browser so that I can use mostly this search engine for my results. Google is generally the first place I look for any information because it gives a very large pool of information to grab from. So I'll just start. I'll start with just a phrase. I'm clicking a different phrase that Google is suggesting for me, possibly for better results. I'm going to also open up a new window and a text box so that I can keep track of any links or search results that I go for. Now, in the search results, I see a bunch of credible websites. I see a bunch of corporation websites, Wikipedia. I'm going to click on this Wikipedia first because it'll give me a very large directory of links that I can click to get information on things that I don't even know the name of. Now, the search terms that I'll use to conduct the research, I will draw from this website. So if I'm ever unaware of what word I'm looking for this is a technical thing, so I have to find the correct wording to use to be able to find what I'm looking for. So there's a complex list here. And obviously this would take a lot of time to go through each one, but if the research called for it, I do have a large pool of information here just from this website. Doing another Google search in the browser at the top, just for ease of access. Now, when I search computer vulnerabilities, Google gives me the standard definition of what a computer vulnerability is, but that's not enough. That's just one string. So what I'm going to try to do is combine two phrases using quotes so that when Google conducts the search, I can find one phrase that has another phrase included somewhere in the article or website. So computer vulnerabilities plus history. Do a search on that. I get several government and military websites, and some education websites. Now, I do see some ads here, so I'm never going to click on websites that are indicated as ads because those do not have credible information. It is an assumption that they do not have credible information, but I'm going to limit myself in my sources. So I'm going to take a look at this comprehensive database of computer vulnerabilities. And this is a government website. Now, the link I clicked on has sort of left me at a dead end because it's simply a summary of information. It is a credible website because at the bottom there are numerous links to government policies and things like that. Just to make sure, I scroll my mouse over any contact emails or anything like that. So if the contact email is of a government agency as well, then the website is probably credible. However, this doesn't necessarily help me in my goal of finding information because all this is a summary. So I'm going to click this link at the end of this paragraph to see where it takes me. It takes me to the National Vulnerability Database, which is a very credible source. I am familiar with this website. It says it's an agency of the U.S. Department of Commerce, which is a little bit surprising. I would think it would be in a Department of Defense or something, but I can see a ton of different information to pull from. Vulnerabilities, I'll click on that. Also, I'm going to open the About tab, about the page, in a separate tab. So what this website is used for is the automation of vulnerability management. So it sets up a system for people to automatically upload any possible computer vulnerabilities. Now, this has not always been around. So this is not a complete list of any vulnerabilities that go back probably past since the inception of this website. Now, to find out how far back this website actually goes, I would have to find out when this website was actually created. So I would do another Google search. And I'll include the string date of creation. And the top result brings me to a separate part of their website where it lists information about the inception of this organization. So this organization has been around since computers have been around. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that this website has vulnerabilities dating back 40 or 50 years. So I'll do a search on the website and see how far back that takes me. It is a blank search, but it is taking a long time to load. So while that's loading, I'll go back to the Wikipedia category of computer security exploits, which has all these various attacks. but it doesn't show them by date. So I'm going to do another Google search with separate strings and quotes. Two separate strings, earliest computer plus hacking techniques. And see if that comes up with anything. Now, the information from this result is not as good as I would like. So I'm going to go to the search tools in Google and perhaps change the range of time to gather from the past year. Now, as I scroll and look through this page again, I'm not finding very good, credible sources specifically on the topic that I'm looking for. There is one credible source from Lockheed Martin, which is a defense contractor. I do have to make sure this is 100% credible. There's an author, the date it was posted, check the information about the Lockheed website. They have things concerning W-2 forms, so it sounds like this is an authenticated website in some manner. Now, this article could be useful actually, because it's a web article written by someone else, published on Lockheed Martin's blog, but it talks about a type of attack that's been around for a long time. It even says in the article that this is one of the original types of hacks, and that it's still a big problem today because the only thing that has to happen is a programmer has to make bad code for this to be able to happen. And coding has been around for a very long time. So that might be near the beginning. Also, what might help me is searching for the earliest models of computer. So, going to go through this, and Google is helpful, and it provides me lots of different types of questions that are related to this question. So I'll go ahead and expand those and see if those are relevant. I'm actually going to go back here and go back to this Lockheed website and copy down this link for further use at a later date. Paste that in. So far, I've only found one source that's credible, and I'm not going to list the Wikipedia category list in my list of sources because I'd prefer to use a source from an article on Wikipedia instead of just listing Wikipedia itself. Now, I'm aware of a thing called freaking, so I'm going to search that. And freaking is a early slang term for people who break into telecommunication systems, and those are forms of computers. And this was around in the 80s. So just from this search result, I can find 20 plus credible sources. Now, they're not all automatically credible, but the fact that they're linked here. Is that it?